He moved through the dust of the ruined outpost with careful steps. The human named Orion carried no weapon in his hands, though a holster hung at his side. His orders were simple: search for survivors and escort them toward the neutral zone. The war that had shaken 2 star systems was slowing, and commanders on both sides agreed that civilians should not suffer any longer. Yet the ruins still felt tense, as if one wrong breath could wake some hidden danger waiting in the shadows. He stopped when he heard a soft sound behind a broken wall. It was not the cry of an adult. It was thin and trembling like a lost bird. Orion approached and lowered himself to the ground. Behind a pile of shattered stone, he found a small child of the rival species. The girl had large dark eyes and pale markings glowing faintly on her cheeks. She pressed herself against the rubble as if trying to sink into it. Orion lifted his hand slowly to show he meant no harm. He spoke in a calm voice. He did not know her name, and she did not offer one. Her breathing was shallow and frightened. Her small arms tightened around a cloth bundle. He saw no weapon and no sign of a guardian. Only fear. Only confusion. He reached for the emergency rations in his pack and placed them in front of her without moving closer. The girl stared at the packet. Her eyes shifted from him to the food and back again. After a moment, she took it with shaking fingers. She tried to open it, but struggled with the seal. Orion gently reached forward, waited for her nod, and opened it for her. She ate in small bites, still watching him. He scanned the area. No tracks of adults. No heat traces. No echo of movement in the ruins. He wondered how long she had been alone. The warfront had moved days ago. If she had been hiding all that time, she had survived through fear alone. While she finished eating, he checked his portable beacon. It linked to the Allied network and shared his location, but interference from broken transmitters around the outpost made the signal weak. Extraction would not be quick. He looked at the child again. Her species was often described by humans as fierce yet proud. Their warriors were known for loyalty, and their citizens for discipline. Yet here was a child shivering in cold dust. He offered her a blanket from his kit. She hesitated but accepted it. Orion waited for a moment, then asked if she could walk. She nodded. Her steps were slow and unsteady, but she stood. He kept a respectful distance and guided her toward a safer structure. While watching the skyline for any remaining patrols, the girl tugged at his sleeve. Her voice was soft, but clear enough to understand. She asked if he would protect her until someone from her people could find her. Orion told her he would. Inside the half-collapsed shelter, he built a temporary barrier with fallen beams and activated a small heater. The girl warmed her hands near it. She watched him with curiosity rather than fear now. He wondered what she saw. A human in dusty armor. A stranger sworn to defend those who had recently been labeled enemies. Yet a child was not an enemy. A child was a life to protect. He gave her water, and she drank slowly, as if not trusting her own strength. When she finished, she leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Orion let her rest. He kept alert, listening to every wind shift and every distant echo. The ruins groaned at times, and he worried that hidden dangers lurked beneath the rubble. Hours passed. Finally, he caught a faint signal on his communicator. A patrol from the rival side was approaching the area under a temporary truce route. They were tracking a missing civilian child. Orion sent a measured response. He confirmed the child was alive and safe. The patrol signaled gratitude, but insisted on verifying. He woke the girl gently. She looked up at him, startled at first, and calmed when she realized he was still there. He told her people were coming. Relief washed over her face. They moved to an open clearing where the truce markers stood. After several minutes, a group of 3 alien soldiers arrived. Their armor bore signs of long battles. Their posture was tense but controlled. They looked at the child with clear shock. Their eyes softened. Among them was a tall woman whose markings glowed brighter than the others. She rushed to the girl and embraced her. The child clung to her tight. Orion assumed she was the mother, but did not speak yet. The woman whispered soothing words to the child, then turned her attention to him. Her gaze held more than gratitude. It held a fierce protective strength mixed with something else. Something like respect. She stepped forward and placed a hand on her heart, a gesture of honor among her people. She thanked him for defending her daughter. She said the child had been missing since the attack on the outpost. They had feared the worst. Orion nodded, relieved she was safe. The woman studied him with intensity. She asked why he had risked staying alone in dangerous territory for a child not of his species. He answered plainly. A child was a child, not an enemy. She stared for a long moment as if weighing every detail of his face. She introduced herself with a simple name. She told him she was a civilian leader among her people. She said her daughter had spoken of him while walking toward the clearing. The girl had said he protected her without hesitation. He gave her food, warmth, safety, and comfort. She said he stood between her and danger, even when he faced unknown threats. The woman stepped closer. She said that such courage was rare, even among her own warriors. She said humans often spoke of honor, but he had shown it in action. Her tone shifted from formal gratitude to something more personal, something deep and direct. She said that according to her people's traditions, anyone who protected a child in dire need earned the highest respect from that child's family. Orion felt uneasy under her gaze, though not in a threatening way. He asked what her people normally did to honor such acts. The soldiers behind her exchanged glances. She took a breath and explained that in her culture, saving a child at great personal risk created a bond between families. Sometimes it meant that the guardian would become a trusted ally. In rare cases, when the act showed selfless bravery, the parent might claim the guardian as a companion in life and purpose. Orion froze. He had not expected anything like that. He tried to keep his voice steady. He said he had only done what was right. She smiled gently and said that was exactly why the tradition applied. The child stepped between them and took Orion's hand in her tiny fingers. She looked up at him with gratitude and affection. Her mother watched the gesture with a soft expression. She asked him if he accepted the bond. Orion hesitated. He respected their customs, but he was a soldier under human command. He could not simply leave his duty. He explained this carefully. The woman listened. She nodded with understanding, but did not withdraw her offer. She said the bond did not require abandoning his people. It could mean cooperation between their families, a promise of mutual respect and shared protection. It did not force him to change sides. Instead, it formed a bridge between their species. He asked for time to consider. She allowed it. She told him her forces had established a neutral meeting site on the edge of the valley and invited him to visit after the next truce cycle. She said her daughter wished to see him again. The girl nodded eagerly. Orion gave a small smile. Before they left, the mother reached out and touched his shoulder. Her expression held something profound. She told him that in the eyes of her people, he had shown humanity at its best. She hoped their future encounters would not be under the shadow of conflict. The patrol departed. Orion watched until they vanished into the haze beyond the broken structures. He felt the weight of what had happened. A simple rescue had turned into a cultural bond that might shape the future between two species. When he returned to his command post, he reported the rescue and the encounter. His superiors reacted with caution but interest. They had been seeking ways to strengthen diplomatic progress. A bond with a civilian leader from the rival side could open meaningful dialogue. Over the next few days, Orion continued his duties. Yet his thoughts kept returning to the child and her mother. He wondered how they were doing. He wondered what she had meant by companion. He knew it was not a romantic claim, but something deeper in tradition. A merging of trust between families, a recognition of shared values. When his next truce shift arrived, he traveled to the neutral site. It was a small valley with broken stone formations and temporary shelters. Their banners and human markers stood side by side. Several members of both species walked, calmly within the limits of the truce zone. He found the mother speaking with neutral officers. She noticed him immediately and approached. The child ran ahead of her and held onto his hand with joy. He knelt and greeted her kindly. Her mother watched with a warm expression. They walked along the valley together. She explained more about the rescue from her perspective. Her people believed that actions revealed truth more than words. Orion had shown that humans could choose compassion even in the ruins of conflict. Many of her citizens respected that deeply. She spoke about her hopes for peace. She believed the war had lasted too long, and that the cost had been greater than either side admitted. Her daughter had almost become another tragedy in that long list. Orion listened. He shared his own view that humans wished for safety and stability as well. They wanted to explore the stars, but not through endless battles. As they talked, she grew more open in her words. She said that when her daughter spoke of him, she described him as someone who felt safe to be near.